Hello. Welcome back. Today we will work on a fairly straightforward movement sequence. It will prove very useful for everyday life. Join me. This is a follow along video. And we will start by lying on the front side. So please come to rest on your front side. So this is the most difficult part, to come down to rest. Your head turned to the left side. And for a moment at least, put your left arm downwards alongside your torso, alongside your left side. So your arms are kind of similar, like in standing, when the arms are just dangling down, but now you're on your front side. So, almost the same as in standing, but a lot less comfortable, I guess. And the first movement is for the left shoulder, concerning the left shoulder. So bring your attention to your left shoulder area. And first feel how your shoulder is hanging forwards. Yes, so your shoulder blade is in the back, but maybe slipped around a little bit so that the front part of your shoulder might touch the floor. You feel it's relaxed and heavy and hanging towards the floor, and then start to lift your left shoulder off the floor. So you lift your left shoulder toward the ceiling and keep your left hand on the floor. Just lift your left shoulder and see what lifts when you lift your left shoulder. And then, of course, relax your left shoulder back down to the floor. And do that a couple of times. And so for one, it's a movement, and also it's an exercise in observing yourself and in discovering what you can observe. So you find the things you observe yourself. What presses more against the floor when you lift your left shoulder? How do you roll, shift your weight? How does your shoulder blade move? How is your breathing affected, your neck? So discover a couple of things, find out a couple of things. Feel, sense what happens when you lift your left shoulder and let it back down again. And you might have discovered that when you do this slowly, and the slower you get, the more you open up a different mode, a mode of learning and exploring. So the slower you become, the more delicate you are working, the more you are able to notice, to label, to name, to experience, and put into words. Also, you start to relax more and more. But we don't want to overdo the left side. So turn your head to the right and explore the same thing on the right side by lifting your right shoulder. So you explore how your right arm is resting, how your right side is resting, and how you start to lift your right shoulder from the floor. And also because you already have experience just now with the left shoulder, you can start to compare How is the right side different than the left side? You can switch back and forth or just focus slowly on one side. And then turn your head to the left again and stand your left hand. So put your left hand standing. Where is it? Where do you have to stand your left? Where's a good spot? So try different spot, different orientations for your left hand, and push the floor with your left hand slowly. So what does this mean? Your shoulder is relaxed to the floor and you start to push the floor, which means your left shoulder will lift if you allow it. If you relax your shoulder back to the floor. Or if you tighten yourself, you will be able to do a half-sided push-up. Or you keep your shoulder relaxed, then it's your shoulder blade that's sliding closer to your spine and away from your spine. So what can you discover in this position of your hand? How is this different as it was before? And now your hand is standing. So very different mechanics, different things to discover. So make a couple of choices for hand position, for mode of operandi, how you work. Don't go wild, don't try too crazy, too fast, too many positions. And then also turn your head to the right and stand your right hand and do a similar exploration on your right side to push with your right hand against the floor. See how it is for different positions of your hand, different orientation of your finger, pointing in different directions. The right hand far from your right shoulder, close to your right shoulder. If you forgot to rest your left arm and you have both hands standing, what does that mean? So try different variations of pushing the floor. So you might already notice if you push the floor, maybe your body is rolling, maybe start to bend one leg, maybe it starts to bend your neck. If you do more, if you do less, lots to explore, very free this movement. You see there's so many things we can do with such a small movement, so many possibilities if you start to explore and think about it. So what is the direction we want to go? Now turn your head to the left again. Take a short rest while being on your front side, looking to the left. bend your left arm and try to push the floor with your left elbow. So instead of pushing the floor with your left hand, try to employ your left elbow to push the floor in a mode of easiness, just very relaxed. See how is it if you want to push the floor with your left elbow? So those mechanics are a bit strange, aren't they? Because if you don't push the floor with your left hand, but with your left elbow instead, there's a good angle is missing, or what is it you feel, sense, you find out about this instruction, about this movement? And you might also want to try that on the other side with your head turned to the right, pushing the floor with your right elbow. Is there even a spot that makes sense? A spot to place your right elbow, where you have an angle to push the floor. Yes, and maybe you feel how your shoulder can lift from the floor and rest on the floor. So it's a very small movement. If you lodge, if you push your elbow against the floor, maybe just your shoulder comes up, so your shoulder blade moves closer to your spine and further away from the spine. Very similar to the first movement. Or maybe your shoulder blade moves in a different direction. How can you perceive the movement of your shoulder blade when you play with your arm in a fashion, in a manner like this? So big question marks. Let's take a break on the back. So please turn around, take a short break on your back. See how you feel when you rest on your back now, how you perceive yourself on the floor, leaning against the floor with your backside. And feel your shoulders in this position. So now your shoulders are naturally hanging backwards towards the floor. Again, same like before, but maybe it feels different because you're on your back now. And how is it to lift one shoulder or the other shoulder in this position? And how is it to draw your shoulder blades toward each other? How is it to press a shoulder stronger against the floor and let go again? And maybe take a little rest. Just rest on your back. Enjoy yourself in a little break. how did these couple of movements with your shoulder blade, how does this affect your breathing? So maybe your breathing, if you have noticed, opened up a little bit already because the shoulder blades, the shoulder area starts to loosen up, starts to loosen the grip on the chest, and thus the chest can move more freely, quite logic, step by step. So maybe you can breathe a little bit better already. And then turn around again, please, on your front side. And this time, lean on your elbows. So you're propped up on your elbows. And take a little walk with your elbows to find a spot. Not only to find a spot, to explore how is it to have the left elbow more out to the left, or closer to the center, closer to your belly, or closer overhead. Where can you place your left elbow? Where can you place your right elbow? How is it to shift your weight more onto your left elbow or more onto your right elbow? Where is the center? How do you feel that the weight of your torso is balanced equally on both shoulders, on both elbows? Can you hang your head, rest your head in your hands? Could you sleep in a position where you're propped up on your elbows? How is it to sway a little bit, to push with your left elbow against the floor, push yourself over to lean more on your right elbow, or to push against the floor with your right elbow to lean more on the floor with your left elbow? How does this roll your entire self from left to right? How does this roll your pelvis, your legs, your feet? Make it smaller and bigger. Play a little bit with all these ideas. What happens if you push with both elbows at the same time as opposed to just one elbow? Take a rest whenever you want and continue to play more a little bit with those ideas or those movements and positions I just suggested. Okay, and then take a full rest, either on your front side or on your back. We will rest for a minute. Oh, what a short minute. So please kind of back onto your front side. Propped up on both elbows. How is that now? Did you on the spot find a better spot for your elbows that's supportive of having yourself up, propped up? And this time bend your left knee on the floor so that the inside of your left knee is on the floor. The inside of your left foot is on the floor. So it's a half crawling position with your right leg extended. And see, how is it now? To shift your weight onto your right elbow or to shift your weight onto your left elbow. And to shift the weight, what does that mean? Do you push with one elbow to shift your weight on the other elbow? Or do you push with your knee? How do you do it? How do you move from one elbow to the other? Really sense and feel, be with yourself to feel what do you do to shift your weight onto your right elbow. How does your head move, roll, hang, shift, bend, tilt? Do you feel a lengthening in your right side? What is happening when you shift your weight to your right elbow? Back and forth, more and more, until you can lift your left elbow off the floor and move your left hand to your right leg and back again on the floor. So you're leaning on both elbows. Then slowly you shift your weight onto your right elbow until you can take your left arm off the floor. Look around in the room. So all your weight is on your right elbow. You have to push the floor with your right elbow. You push against the floor with your right elbow so you can prop yourself up onto your right elbow. You push the floor. You push the floor away from you. You push the floor. You will be pushed away from the floor and back. So find the right moment. So you shift your weight onto your right elbow. You push the floor with your right elbow until you can lift off your left arm or put your left arm behind you. You can point around. Hello. You can point around in the room with your left hand. Point, can you bring me my socks? Oh, I already have my socks. Can you bring me my drink? Over there, my glasses. Yes, point around in the room and then come back, take a rest on your front side. Then again, we will do the other side. So prop yourself up on your elbows, bend your right knee, and then play, experiment, observe how you shift your weight onto your left elbow. So first push the floor with your right elbow to bring your weight to your left elbow. And then you push the floor with your left elbow so you can lift your right hand off the floor. Look around in the room, look around behind you, look to the ceiling, and use your right hand to point anywhere in the room. You can go, when you get the hang of it, you can go from side to side. You push the floor once with one elbow, go down again, you shift your weight to the other elbow and you push the floor with the other elbow. So we sequenced the way to this position. We have a good push against the floor with the elbow to push us up. To be stable, push, and then become unstable again, to rest. And play with this idea, or these ideas, these suggestions, and always stay, of course, I'm talking a lot, but stay with yourself, feel, sense, label, find out something, discover connections in yourself, how the movements relate to each other, how you transition from one position to the other. Where you have tension, you can let go of, and where you need tension, where you need to push, where you need to have strength and stability. And at the same time, in other parts, maybe you don't. So quite complicated. You have to push the floor with one elbow, so the other elbow can be free. Where do you lean against on the floor in any part of this movement? And then we take another rest on the back. So please come to rest on your back. And feel how is it now to rest on your back? How do you feel yourself on your back now? How do you feel the floor? How do you feel yourself leaning against the floor with your backside? Breathing against the floor with your backside, breathing against the room with your front side and with the sides. How do you feel your chest now? Your shoulders, your pelvis, your legs, everything. Your blood, your skin, your body temperature, how moist or dry are your hands? What do you feel of yourself right now? Oh, and then we need to continue. So please come again on your front side. A last time, we will take this movement even further. Lean on your both elbows. See how natural it is now to find a spot, a good spot where you're supported well, where you really lean on your elbows, where you can hang into your shoulders. So push with both elbows against the floor to prop yourself up and let go again. So this should feel fairly easy, smooth, natural by now. And then shift your weight onto your right elbow. So push with your left elbow to bring your weight on your right elbow. Draw up your left knee. So you're leaning against your right elbow. Your left knee is bent. Lift off your left elbow. So your left arm is away from the floor. So where do we go from here? So what's the move? What do we do once we are propped up on the right elbow? So my suggestion, switch over your legs. So draw up your right knee and push down your left leg. So your right knee will be bent in the place where your left knee is now, and your left leg will straighten down. And this will allow for what? What will happen if you do the switch of the legs? You switch the legs. So this can bring you up to sitting. Can it or can it not? So let's try that again from the beginning. You're on both elbows. You push yourself onto your right elbow with your left leg bent. Then you switch your legs. And there you have an opportunity to come up to sit. And how fun is that? How does this work? And back the same way you came. And also try it on the other side and switch from side to side and start to explore and discover. And the more you discover, the more curious you are, the slower, of course. The more you notice the details, the shift of weight, the shift of tension, the change of tension in the body, and the different ways of coming up, being stable, of being loose. Where's your head? When do you turn your head? When do you lift your head? When do you bend your neck? When do you extend the legs? What is the right timing? And little by little, if the stiff body becomes more flexible again, what a nice sequence, isn't it? A success. Okay, let me take a last break. On the front, maybe. See how you lift your shoulders, how you move your shoulders when you rest on your front or on your back. How do you feel on your back? How do you want to rest now? Does it really matter? How agile are you now? Bit by bit, more agile bits. And if you are not resting right now, come to be on your back. Feel how you are on your back right now. Take a last rest on your back. Feel how you breathe, how you sense yourself. The presence you have right now. You are in yourself, in this world. Very present. And then, before we sleep, the last thing we have to do is to get up and see how it feels in standing. So how do we elbow ourselves up? So how does this feel in standing? How do your elbows feel? Thank you so much for participating. Thank you so much for your support. It's only through your support that my work is possible, that I can do these videos. Take good care of yourself. Have fun with your shoulders and elbows. Again, thank you so much for watching and see you in the next video.